Let's talk about China for a minute before I get to the Eurozone. How does China get their dollars? They don't start out with any dollars. They sell some things at Walmart and Kmart and Target and our department stores. And they get paid, and the money goes into their checking account at the Fed. Okay. Technically, that's part of the national debt. Now, we now owe China that money. Well, what do we owe them? We owe them a bank statement that shows how much they have there in their checking account. Then our debt management people take over, a Treasury, and they auction off Treasury securities, and China buys Treasury securities. And what does the Fed do? They move the money. They move the money from China's checking account to China's savings account at the Fed. And now we owe China all that money with all that interest. And how are we ever going to pay them back? How are we going to pay back the whole $13 trillion in those savings accounts? Just like we do every week when tens of billions come due. We transfer that balance plus interest back to the checking accounts at the Fed. Debt paid back. And they have three choices with what they can do with that checking account. Leave it alone, put it back in the savings account, or spend it. Well, what if they spend it? Well, then they go buy something from, I don't know, euros from Deutsche Bank or something, and then we transfer the dollars from their account to Deutsche Bank's account. And the European Central Bank transfers euros from Deutsche Bank's account to China's account. All these other countries are doing the same thing. So what is the problem? What are we leaving to our children and grandchildren? We're just going to need one accountant, just like we need, to just debit and credit these funds. The whole thing can be done on one spreadsheet. Okay, you could run that whole part of the Fed with about $100,000 a year budget if you wanted to. There's nothing to it. People say, well, what happens if China dumps all their dollars and the dollar goes down? What are we ever going to do? At the same time, those same people are saying we need China to revalue their currencies undervalued by 50%. Okay? So on the one hand, they want us to revalue their currency up, which means have the dollar go down by 50%. On the other hand, they're panicked over what might happen if the dollar goes down 50%. Guys, you can't have it both ways. Figure out what you want. I don't have time to get into it, but it's not a problem either way.